Hey, what's up? My name is Mark. Welcome back to another episode by Motionbolt.com. Today I'm going to show you how to create cool trees in Photoshop and then take those trees, import them into After Effects, and create some really cool autumn motion backgrounds. If we go under Motionbolt.com, we go under More, and I've got some autumn ones here. I'm going to be putting those on the home page very soon here. If we click down here, I recently added several tree motion backgrounds here. Now these are fake trees, but I created them all in Photoshop and then animated them into After Effects. Also, if you take a look at the blog here under 5 autumn tree PNGs here, if we click on that one here, you can download some of these PNGs for free here. Now what's cool about a PNG is the fact it's a high resolution image that has a built-in alpha channel, which means you can overlay that onto any background without having to key out the white background, which comes with a lot of backgrounds that you find online. So let's go ahead and jump into Photoshop here. Here's a couple of the trees that we're going to be building today. We've got different colors there, different types. There's a really cool way to do this in Photoshop. So it does require Photoshop. Let's go ahead and jump over here and see what we got. Alright, so we're in Photoshop here now. So let's go ahead and create a new layer here. We'll just call this background. I like having a white backdrop, so let's go ahead and drop that in. Now secondly, we're going to create the tree. Alright, so we've got a new layer selected. Let's just call this tree. And then if we go up to filter, render, tree. This is one of the coolest things ever. This is like mind-blowing if you did not know this was in Photoshop. So right off, it gives you a lot of different options here. Let's take a look at a few of the things here. Under basic, you've got lots of different tree options here, including stylized trees down there. Oakwood, redwood, ginkgo, which not really sure what that is. Maple tree, that's a nice one. Spruce, aspen, pine. For the sake of this tutorial, let's go ahead and take a look at a maple tree here. Okay, so that's already a great start. Now, the first option is you can change the light direction. I've tended to leave it in the middle just because I like it. It gives a nice even look. Shadows on some of the highlights there, and it just looks really nice. Leaves amount, if you take that all the way down to 0, you can see obviously you just have branches. But then if you take it all the way to 100, it looks a little bit too full. I like leaving around 66 personally. I usually get a pretty good look there. I get a look that sometimes one of the weird things with Photoshop is it creates these weird bottom branches which look a little goofy. So I sometimes just play with it until I get something I really like. If we move that back just a little bit, that's not too bad. Alright, the leaf size is the next one. I've got that set to 152. If you take that smaller, obviously it just diminishes the leaves slightly. That still looks nice. We can do that. The branch height, this obviously controls how low the leaves go concerning the lowest branch. So if we take that all the way up, it looks kind of silly. Bring that down a little bit. I typically leave it near the bottom. I think that looks pretty good usually. Then you got the branch thickness. This is basically the tree trunk here. Proportionately, that looks pretty good, but just to go to an extreme, that looks nice. And then you could go all the way skinny or basically get rid of it. So that looks kind of funny there. I like that. But let's put it back to where it was for now. That looks pretty good. Now, if you unselect default leaves, you can actually change the leaf type here and make it whatever you want to. Certain trees come with different leaves, obviously. So if you put say a palm branch or palm leaves on there, it might look a little silly. It just looks a little goofy. So I typically just leave it with the default leaves because I want the leaf to match that type of tree to make it a little more realistic. Now the next thing we're going to do is go under advancement here, advanced options, and we can start changing the colors around. You can select any color you want to for this tree. You could go red, you can select any color, and it looks fantastic. I love this orange look. Since it is fall, we're creating autumn motion backgrounds. I'm going to leave it this color here. For now, let's go ahead and build this tree. Click OK, it'll render it out. And we've got a beautiful looking tree here. I'm going to scale it up a little bit. I'm working in a 3840 by 2160 document here, so that way it'll match my 4K document in After Effects. If we scale in, we've got some really good detail here. The leaves look pretty legit. That looks nice. Even the trunk looks good. So that's a great starting tree. So let's go ahead and call this maybe an orange tree, which is definitely not an orange tree, but for the sake of this, let's go orange tree. And let's make one more. Let's go ahead and create a new layer here. Let's go back to filter, Let's go back to render and then tree. And then we're going to pick a different type, go through the options quicker. That way we have 2 trees to work with in After Effects today. Let's go down and let's create a spruce tree. That has a nice look to it. Let's make this a red one here. I'm going to leave all the settings the same. I like the look of it already. Let's make this one like a darker red look. There's our red tree. Extreme fall, extreme red. So let's go ahead and click OK here. So we've got 2 nice looking trees here. Screams fall, of course. And you know what, for the sake of it, let's just create a yellow tree real quick as well. Let's do filter, render, and then tree. Elm tree looks great. So we have like a maple tree, we have whatever this guy was, and then we've got an elm. Let's go ahead and, let's just go green on this one. I know it's fall, but that's okay. Just to show what the program can do. So we've got a really nice green looking tree here. Alright, and we've turned off this layer and this layer. That is fantastic. Look at that. No background. We can turn that off. That is high resolution tree right there. So that looks really nice. So the key in all this now is we need to get these trees over into After Effects. There's different ways you can do it. The way I like to is to turn off the background and then save these one at a time. So I make the tree as big as I can. Let's go to File, save as a copy. We'll change it to a PNG here. And we'll call this Green Tree 1. Meanwhile, back on the blog here, like I said, I do have a bunch of these sample trees already done. Now, just to clarify, these trees are all downloadable as separate tree files. So if you download them, they don't just come in like one package there. The download button's down there. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. I even added an extra bonus in there, so feel free to download that and check it out. Okay, so now that's saved, let's go ahead and head over to After Effects. So we've got our 3 trees. Notice they're on transparent backgrounds because they are PNGs. So if we were to create a new background, let's do a new solid. We'll call this backdrop. We can add a generate, and let's just do a gradient ramp. Since it's fall, let's make this a nice orangish brown. And maybe a lighter yellow. Okay, so that looks pretty good for the background. One thing I like doing is adding a texture to the background. So I've got this nice little concrete block pattern here. We're going to go and take that, overlay it, and then let's go ahead and blend that into our background slightly here. Let's see here if let's see what overlay looks like. Okay, that looks pretty nice. Let's drop that down. Let's change it to maybe 65%, so it's not quite as noticeable. So that looks nice. All right, now we can take these 2 layers, drop them in the very back. And notice that our trees look pretty nice on them already. So let's go and turn off the green tree and the red tree, and let's focus on just the orange tree. Okay, so already that's starting to look pretty good. Now, one of the things you'll have noticed here, if we go ahead and play, let's do this background here. All right, we'll go ahead and go full screen on this for a second. Notice how I've got some twinkling stars in the background, but notice how the leaves on the tree slowly move. Now, it's not the most realistic thing you've ever seen, but at the same time, it's nice adding a little bit of motion to the tree, just having the leaves gently move a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to do that very simply and very quickly. If you're not looking at it real closely, it looks like the tree's gently blowing in the wind. It looks pretty nice. So let's go ahead and head back to After Effects here. With that layer selected, go to Turbulent Displace. Drag that onto your layer. And I'm going to drop my resolution here down to about 1/4 just so I can see what's going on. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make some adjustments here. Let's go ahead and first of all key the evolution. And on a 36 second background length, I usually do about 5 or 6 revolutions. Let's do 5 for now. So now that looks really weird. That doesn't look natural. So let's go ahead and go to size and knock that down to 50. And then let's go down to amount and knock that down to 25. Now let's see what we got here. If we play this back, see how that just gives a nice little bit of motion as if the wind was blowing the leaves gently. Now, one of the weird things about doing this is the trunk of the tree moves as well. So if we go ahead and play this back, that's one of the parts that gives it away that we kind of cheated on how we animated this tree. So one quick way to fix that is by duplicating the layer. So we take a look at orange tree here. We'll duplicate it, and we'll call this orange trunk, just so we keep it straight. And then we're going to delete the turbulent displace on there. We don't want that layer. And then we're just going to mask out the rest of the tree here. So we go ahead and do that. I usually just go up around the trunk here, because I don't want that moving. Now we can feather that mask just slightly. I don't want to add too much. Let's just give it like a 20. Then the last step, also go under transform and then scale that up just slightly. Okay, so that looks like that'll work pretty nicely. Let's move that back into place. Okay, let's see how that looks now if we render this out. Notice how the trunk of the tree isn't moving anymore. That looks pretty nice, and the rest of the tree is moving, just nicely blowing in the wind a little bit. Alright, so that's how you can animate a tree in After Effects there. That's how I've been doing these. I recently just added, I've got another background here called Colors of Fall. Recently just built this one. This one turned out really nice. So we've got Colors of Fall here. The tree slowly moves. Leaves are moving slightly. It's very subtle for the most part. And then I've added some haze around it and some particles. Creates a really nice fall looking background. That is up on the website, so feel free to download that one. The final thing I want to do is I want to take a look at a project here which I was building last night. I got a fall tree here. I've applied that Turbulent Displace to it, so if we go under Effects and we go under Orange Tree here, we can see that we've got that done. I've duplicated the trunk, got that added there. Now I created this fake dirt underneath it, so I did a shape layer here. And how I did that was I did a fill color. It was just green, and I made one like let it orange, blended it. And if I actually scroll down here, I did a zigzag pattern. So I went under Add, and then Zigzag. And if I were to take that off, it would just be like a flat layer. But with that pattern, kind of gave me some hills there, blended it, changed the color on the next one, then duplicated it. So I have two of those. If I were to take that one off, it's just kind of that. That looked pretty nice for the base. Got the tree that moves slowly. Then also I added some radio waves in the background there. Then I've got my textured background to kind of create the sky. Duplicated the layers there. And now I've got this great looking backdrop here. Added just a couple particles to it, and added a blur layer to it. So that looks pretty nice. Looks like a tree in fall. Alright, so if you're watching this on YouTube and you're wondering, where do I get all these cool motion backgrounds that are free, completely royalty free, you can use them however you want to, just don't re-upload them directly to your YouTube channel. Go to motionbolt.com on the front there, and what you can do is you scroll down, you find tons of the latest backgrounds here. I post them all here. These are very cool backgrounds. I've got Abstract Bokeh Light Burst. If you want to pick up some cool tips and tricks, go to blog here. I'm going to be adding my latest episode here. I do one on comparing Trap Hood Particular and then Stardust using the Mavic Pro, so from time to time I add some tutorials there. Be sure to look at the 5 free autumn tree PNGs. I might add those recent ones that we just did today to that blog post, so be sure to check that out. Also, it's not too early to say Christmas is coming up, so take a look at our candle motion backgrounds here. Also, I've got lots of Christmas motion backgrounds. If you scroll down, there's my candle ones, like I said. Even a cool train set there, which looks pretty cool. Scroll down, I've got Merry Christmas down there. Lots of different lights ones, some winter ones, some realistic ones there. Notice these trees over here on the right. Those were made in Photoshop and animated. I'm going to be doing a lot more of those, so be sure to check those out. More candle stuff down there. Tons and tons of Christmas motion backgrounds. So be sure, as the season gets festive, to go back to motionbolt.com and check us out. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new content. I love hearing from you guys. Feel free to comment. Let me know what you like, what you don't like. Totally cool. Like us on Facebook. Hey, thanks again for watching. Appreciate it. See you guys later.